name is Clara Towson, and I'm a friend of the show.
Boom.
I am Francisca George, and I'm a friend of the show.
Perfect.
Hi, my name is Susan Leemans, and I'm a friend of the show.
Boom. Yeah.
My name is Zainab Sammaz, and I'm a friend of the show.
Boom.
Hey guys, my name is Sasha Vickery, and I'm a friend of the show.
Boom.
Hi, my name is Lloyd Harris, and I'm a friend of the show.
Perfect.
Hi, my name is Jasmine Paolini, and I'm a friend of the show.
Wow, Jasmine, you got it in one time. Ta-da! None of those players, I think, will probably feature in today's show, primarily because I've put basically all the ATP tournaments in the headlines, and I'm also in Hamburg, so I think that's pretty much the focus of my attention. Some of those players also went pretty deep, or very deep, or as deep as you can go at SW19 last week, so of course they're not in action right now. And Lloyd Harris, does anyone know what he's up to?
I actually don't know if he's even playing this week, or is he in New? Well, he should be in Newport, but I don't think he is, right? Or at
What do you
least
mean
I
should
haven't
be?
seen him yet on the schedule. Maybe
Okay.
he's just taking a bit of a breather after Wimbledon. I don't actually know.
Never
I don't
breathing,
think
yeah.
he's played yet. If he is at an event, I don't think he's played yet.
I didn't put Newport. Of course, there's 4 ATP events happening
Yeah, I
this
don't
week.
think he's playing. I think he's gonna just restart in Atlanta. So
Okay. So as you highlighted last night, it's kind of unusual to have 4 ATP events all
it
at
is,
once,
yeah.
right?
There was like an instance of this like a year or two ago, and there's gonna be in February next year. But in general, it is very unusual. Yeah, I think free is the max, and we generally usually don't even get 4 in a week. No, not even once per season. But of course, Hamburg had to go somewhere, even with the Olympics involved. So
I'm getting all Hamburged up, so that is my attention. I'm aware of Gstaad and Bastad. Is that the right pronunciation? Bastad?
there's a with these dots at the top. So
Yeah,
the
I'm
way I
pretty
said
sure
it,
it's not Bastard, whichever way you
yeah,
look
the
at
way I
it.
said is Bostad, but it's like kind of it's not perfect Swedish pronunciation, but it's close-ish. So Bostad is yeah the way I say it.
Got it. So not Bastard. We'll tick that one off. Hi,
Bastard,
Ashley.
no.
um, all right. Well, Nadal playing in Bastad, whatever. Today against Borg. I've been loving some of the tweets, by the way. They've been playing on this. 2 clay quarters legends of the sport. Finally meeting each other, and Nadal in his on-court interview afterwards saying that he's here to defend his title from 20 years ago was quite amusing. 7 games Borg took. That's about 6 more than maybe you anticipated, Damien.
Yeah, more or less actually. He definitely did better than Darwin Blanche. He also did better than
Yeah.
Flavio Cobolli. I mean, Leo gets all of these Bostad Stockholm wildcards. Kind of,
Wonder
well,
why.
rarely does something with them, but he did take a set of Tommy Paul in Stockholm once. He actually won a match last year in Bostad as well, beating Elias Immer. So, there is a degree of, let's say, peaking that happens to Leo Borg when he's at these events. Otherwise, on tour this year, he's been woeful. So, yeah, I mean, it's definitely great for him to like sort of still be able to be competitive against Rafa. Perhaps in the next matches we're going to see if it's just the lefty topspin not having as much fire on it as it maybe did even earlier in the season. I mean, we'll have to find out. In doubles, I remember that doubles match that they played against Andreotti Reyes Varela on Monday. Like that, I think Rafa was playing awesome there. So yeah, I'm surprised that Leo took these many games. Of course, this was more of a storyline match than an actual tennis encounter. We knew who was going to win when we saw the draw, but it actually was relatively competitive as well.
Did you see much of the doubles then?
The round one, yeah. I
Okay.
watched most of it.
Because I think we've been getting generally good vibes from the Rafa camp since probably Madrid, right? We've been getting gradually, and again in the build up to this tournament, you would imagine that he should be taking advantage of the fact that he hasn't had the Wimbledon distraction anyway. So he should be. I mean, is he? Are we now talking like a gold medal contender in the singles for or do we need to see a few more matches in in Bastad first before we start getting carried away.
Ooh, gold medal contender.
Well, who's in the way? Alcaraz, sure. Djokovic, I guess. Sinner, sure. Zverev as well. Beyond that, is there anyone else that you would put ahead of him in the queue?
Wait, you're talking about Rafa?
The Olympics. Yeah.
Wow, okay. I mean, I would put Casper Ruud ahead of him, for example.
Okay.
I would put Stefanos Tsitsipas ahead of him. I would put Alexander Zverev.
His level
He might
against
have been-
Zverev, which was 4 weeks ago, 5 weeks ago, probably, maybe even more, 6 weeks ago. You know, if he plays Zverev a few rounds later, I'm not lamenting the draw. It is what it is.
No, I mean, no. You can say something different though. If he doesn't play Zverev in the opening round, he probably wins a few matches.
Right. Exactly. So
If he
a few
plays Zverev
matches,
later in the tournament, he probably still loses.
probably still loses. Would it be more competitive, perhaps?
I'm not sure because maybe at that stage he's tired, We don't know if he's actually ready for like 7 matches, 6 matches, 5 matches of best of 5 play. But yeah, I don't know. Gold medal contender, really?
I mean, even if you're putting Tsitsipas and Ruud ahead of him, you are now struggling, right?
I wonder, like, let's say there's a random player around the top. Oh, let's say Holger Rune, for example.
Yeah, Madovshan.
Is he ahead of
sure.
Holger Rune or not? And that's kind of maybe where I have Rafa right now.
Okay, the reason probably why is I
He's not
think
gonna win the event. Like, no, sorry, like he's not in that tier that players who can win the event. He probably isn't in that tier of players who can go relatively deep.
I just think that and listen, I'm not someone who actually is crazily getting carried away. I just think that peak Tsitsipas, peak Rune, peak who else did we mention? Peak Rune, peak Ruud, for example. Yeah, that's sort of bronze, silver medals. Okay. Now I'm not talking about peak Rafa, as in like the guy who steamrolled to 14 French Open, several of which were in a row in the late 2000s, then another streak, of course, in the mid 2000s, or mid 2010s. I don't mean that peak. I just mean that although those other guys are sort of contenders, they're not really contenders. Whereas actually Rafa could be one of the two extremes, that he goes out early or build up some momentum. And then, I mean, he could win this title in Bastad, right?
Can he?
Well, we'll.
Well, I mean, if he has to play both Ruud and Rublev, can he?
Can he beat Rublev? Come on. Andre Rublev, what's his pedigree for the year, apart from Madrid?
Where are we sort of getting this from? I don't know. I mean, the clay
Can he beat
season,
Andre
Rafa
Rublev?
played one good match the entire clay swing, and that was the one he lost at Roland Garros. Of course, that was a nasty draw, but I don't know. I just don't think we can really go from that. It's still a loss in the opening round. It's I know it's a loss to, well, their finalists, one of the best players in the field, but just, I don't know, it's still an opening round loss. Like, it's still far from actually playing and winning 5 matches in a row.
I don't know. I thought his level was pretty good that day. I think it was
It
really
was, but like, what's the
close.
guarantee that he's gonna do it 5 times in a row? In Rome, he was just useless against Hurkacz, right?
Agreed.
We kind of have to. I don't know. I think I gotta see more. At least I gotta see more.
Damien, I've got to say something about where you're at. You're back home, right?
Yeah, but only until tomorrow.
Okay. This is familiar surroundings for like a year ago, but unfamiliar for the last 12 months, it feels like. At Nerland, by the way.
Last summer I was here for like 5 months or something like that. So yeah.
Nerland is quite concerned about you. I don't know if you've seen this pressure. I think maybe I'm bullying you or something.
It's just a regular event, Ashley. It's 64 players in the draw. It's only a week. The Olympics last 2 weeks, but the tennis event is only a week, and you also get the doubles and the mixed doubles events.
Okay, well, Nadal is on his way back to being world number 1. Tick. Next on the list, and some other stuff that's been going on in Bastad today. What has caught your eye?
In Bastad or what?
Yeah, Bastad.
Yeah, in that one. What else was there today, really? I remember watching Kovalik Nori yesterday. Of course, Nori is now going to be
Nori's going to be. What did you
matchup
think
for
of Nori
Rafa.
then yesterday? Oh, Borges
Ye-
winning as well. Yeah, I saw that on my Twitter timeline
Yeah,
because
but
I
that was
follow
like later in the day. Pellegrino was his win on the main tour, which was pretty crazy.
Nadal beating Yamur.
Yeah, I mean I think Bostad today was relatively like, other than Rafa, was a bit of a non-story. Ajdukovic crushed Van Asch, but you kind of expected maybe sometimes with a player like him as well. Just comes out, plays a good match. He's probably
Is
going to be the guy
Medjedovic
who's
in
going to stop
Gstaad,
him.
is he?
Medjedovic is in Gstaad, yes, and he's going to
Okay.
play Tsitsipas tomorrow.
Oh, that's exciting.
I think he's the favorite, just because it's altitude, and that's kind of the only part of it. Obviously, Steph has been super consistent on the which Nori. There was this guy like Edward Corey, but I don't know, another Nori. But anyway, I think Tsitsipas, of course, the last few years has been incredibly consistent on clay. But this is, yeah, I mean, this is altitude. He never really plays like after the Wimbledon. He only showed up in Hamburg a few years. Of course, very different conditions. I think he's really gonna struggle with the backhand return. And yeah, Medjedovic has a super good chance.
Do the bookies make him favourite? I would imagine they don't.
No. I mean, not Medjedovic. Yeah, Tsitsipas is still
Yeah.
the favorite, but it's like relatively close in terms of the odds. I mean, it's not relatively close in terms of the odds. I would like it to be closer. I was actually thinking it might be somewhat close to a 50-50, but it's not.
So that's to look forward to there. I think basically just in terms of these Bastad results, I
Yeah.
follow a few sort of Portuguese related media representatives, many of which you'll know, on Twitter. So I saw something funny about some of the musical choices after the Pellegrino Borges match. Nice to see Borges and Rocha get wins today for the
And
Portuguese
you
side.
know who they're playing next?
Each other.
Yep.
Oh, nice. Nice. I mean, almost this year, I feel like an adopted Portuguese.
Yeah,
Anyway,
absolutely. I mean, we already covered Lisbon. Now we're gonna do Porto in a couple of weeks. So
yeah.
absolutely, the two biggest cities in Portugal. I mean, you've been there before, or you had been
Yeah, I
there
have.
before.
Yeah, yeah. I mean,
For me, it was the first time. So yeah.
covered Lisbon is a masterpiece of understatement. I mean, I basically saturated it. They were like, "Oh, you again," by the time I was there for the third event in about 6
Yeah.
weeks.
And actually myself, I'm maybe like overstating it a bit, because in Lisbon I pretty much saw what, like the airport, metro,
Yeah, yeah. I mean, when I
train
say
station.
Lisbon, tennis world.
I know,
Is
I know.
we make it a bit bigger, and therefore Lisbon encompasses Estoril, Huerash, and I mean, by the way, they are both within about 20 minutes, half an hour of Lisbon itself. But I'm sure there's some local tribe. There's probably a local tribe in like Huerash right now that is obviously spitting feathers as we get them confused with those Lisbon foreigners that they describe. Yamur Nagal, I know I just touched on it. I always think Yamur is a story of some sort, in that he could be going far in this tournament or going out to Summit Nagal as he has done today.
Well, I mean, can he go far in an event like this, though? I mean, if we're talking about a challenger, sure, but I don't know. Was his 11th time in Bostad, I think.
Didn't he put
4
Push
times he
Draper to
made the
5
second round.
sets? Push Draper to 5 sets at Wimbledon on a surface that I wouldn't normally associate him with.
Yeah, that's like his only good match of the year. Of course, that one event that you saw him at as well. But overall, his
Yeah.
winners record is quite horrible.
I just feel as that there's a huge amount of talent there, but then again, though, I see that a lot.
I mean,
I'll
there
come.
used to be. I mean, there is, but it's been so many years. I mean, it's been like what, a decade since. Yeah, we all thought he was gonna make it, and it just hasn't happened.
There's a few players on tour. I'll let everyone else fill in the gaps, but there's a few players on tour that say this. In fact, just in sport in general, who say, "I think I've found what's been wrong the last few years, and this is going to make things better." And they get a couple of wins, but then they resort to the norm, and maybe Elias falls into that category. I'm actually thinking of, by the way, no, he's a super nice guy, but I'm thinking of Juan Mata in football. He used to make a huge apology for a particular result. He used to write a blog, actually, and it would be like, "Yeah, but we're going to get things right." And after about 12 of those blogs, it was like, right, okay, maybe we can be a bit more skeptical about we're going to get things right for the next match. Bless his heart. Okay, all right, that's that then. Let's go over then to Gstaad big time. We just touched on Tsitsipas Medvedev. Matthew, by the way, is suggesting that he still thinks that Tsitsipas is probably the favourite for that one. Newport, by the way. No, we'll come to Newport in a second because actually that's probably the one I'm least across. Anything in Gstaad today that sort of caught your eye?
No, I definitely watched Wawrinka against Klein as well. That Basel retirement that I'm kind of predicting for Stan is looking more and more
This
likely
year?
by the minute.
This year?
Huh?
This year? Basel retirement?
I think it's gonna happen. I mean, he's like what, 5-12 for the year, 5-13 or something like that. I mean, he's not gonna finish top 100 almost surely. So it's over.
Well, you've also said it's over for Botic as well. Look at him tearing it up against Stricker today.
Yeah, I mean, did I say it's over? I said it's over, sort of, at terms of his top level. Like,
Why is it called the Roy Emerson Arena, by the way? That doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah, I think there's something. I mean, I'm pretty sure I read about it at some point.
Did he go to Switzerland on holiday once or something? Or
I think the connection is bigger, but yeah, I would have to read about it again, to be honest. But yeah, Wawrinka Klein is something I watched. I mean, I don't think Stan was horrible today, but well, this is just a
so Klein
streak
was
of
good.
these
Klein was
tournaments.
good.
Not on return, but in general, he was definitely the one kind of causing more issues and stuff. And yeah, Roy Emerson actually won Gstaad 5 times, so that's why it's called
He
that.
went on holiday there 5 times and picked up a few trophies.
But yeah, I mean, Klein obviously is a bit messy and can't return at all, but still very good player for like fast clay. It reminds me of that Jari loss for Wawrinka at Buenos Aires earlier this year, where like he played okay. I guess
Well,
Jari he even had a match point or something like that, right?
he was serving for it. Something. I think he played really
something like that,
well.
yeah.
I thought he played really. And Jerry got to the final. I mean, Stan wins that and he gets to the final. Then we're not.
But he's
looking
not
at
getting these wins. He's like top 200 in the ATP race or something like that. Yeah, I mean it's over. I don't see him, standing, let's say, at the end of the season at number 170 in the rankings and playing a full challenger schedule or something like that. I don't think that's happening.
What's his current ranking?
105 or something like that, with the UMAG final to defend, with something.
So he might not make. He might not make the cut. Then he probably won't make the cut for the US Open.
He's on the verge. I mean, actually, we can check, but I don't think he's made it. I think he's going to be waiting.
Well, 110 is a weight, yeah.
Yeah,
sure.
like 105 or something like that, actually. But I think it might not be enough given sort of the standards that we're used to this year. He's the 7th alternate for the US Open.
Okay.
Is there a chance Nadal and Rune will pull out of doubles depending on their results? I mean, not tomorrow, I don't think. Rune is playing first up against Monteiro. They should easily be able to make it for doubles. And Rafa is playing on Thursday, so no real correlation, I think. So,
and I guess they're both playing with a bit more of a purpose than normal. So it's not like, like Rafa, I remember playing in the Australian Open doubles or something. Or no, it wasn't the Australian Open. Maybe it was like one of those, I think it might have been the Melbourne Somerset or what it was called, doubles. And he's playing it because he needs matches under his belt. And we see it sometimes with other players in other parts of the year. There's a bit more of a purpose with these guys right now. And it's hardly as if Rude went deep at Wimbledon.
If they win tomorrow, you mean, then they would have to play the semis on Friday. I don't know. We'll see. But
I think they'd probably keep going. I think they probably
there is
keep
a bit
going.
of a purpose in terms of just match rhythm and stuff. I'm not even sure the Olympics is the main priority for Rafa, like playing this event here, but just getting more playtime. So no, I would expect them to keep playing. It's really like a very doable title. The Bastad field in doubles this year is very weak, other than the defending champions, Escobar and Dovieso. Rafa and Ruud, they already eliminated number 2 seeds, Andreotti, Reyes, Varela. And Andreotti, Reyes, Varela are not usually number 2 seeds at ATP Tour events. It's just that, well, again, we have 4 events. So most of the usual suspects are in Hamburg. So
Cachin's title defense is already over in the round of 13, losing in 32, sorry. There is no round of 13. In straight sets to Berrettini, so that's nice for the Italian. Hanfmann are winning in 3 sets, and Hallis beating this youngster on the tour, Richard Gasquet.
Yeah, Cachin Berrettini, of course, a big story as well, but we all knew who the favorite is. We all knew who the winner was going to be. I don't think Cachin did horribly. I mean, obviously the conditions suit him really well, but yeah, overall we
Was it
know
really
sort of
that predictable
in which
beforehand?
direction he's heading.
Was it really that predictable that Berrettini would beat him?
Yeah, I mean, Berrettini is like the title favorite, I think. I'm not as high on him, obviously on clay than as on grass, but it's still clay at 1,000 meters above sea level. And yeah, he's always done super well in Gstaad. He won his first ATP Tour title there in 2018. He made the final in 2022. So yeah, I think it's a mismatch. Berrettini, Cachin, sure, and that's how it was priced as well. How high am I on Haide? It's a tough question. I mean, I think some of the results that he's been getting this year are a little above his actual quality for now. But, he seems okay. Probably will break the top 100 at some point. Is he going to be the next sort of Christian Garin and, win 5 ATP titles in like 2 years? Probably not. Today he was, well, I mean, I guess he played okay. He was definitely the better player, but like he almost blew it on so many occasions.
Let's zoom over to Newport and also change surfaces. I see your mate Jakob Mensik lost today.
Another one of my mates apparently.
Another one of
Yeah,
your
but he
mates.
lost to the grass specialist, right? To the grass specialist, literally the grass specialist, Alex Bolt. So
Anyway, so he's done. Another one of your mates done. We'll come to one or two more of your mates shortly. We've actually got some live tennis action happening right now with Emilio Nava, friend of Vanch's, up against sort of kind of a friend of not a friend, but he talks about him a lot, Nakashima. So they're just getting underway in Newport, and I think Vanch is there
that's also
covering
a
it.
friend of Vanch's, actually.
Is it a friend of Vanch's? Okay, I
Yeah.
don't want
They
to.
both
I didn't want to
played.
oversell it or undersell it.
I'm
Either.
not sure with whom Vanch is. I think actually maybe with Brandon. It's who Vanch had more.
It's
contact
because he's
with.
played Emilio, hasn't he?
I think he's played Brandon as well.
You're kidding.
Or at least, was playing.
Oh,
the
hang on a
same
second. But has he played Brandon in the same way that he's been to Wimbledon, like in 2018 for the semi-final?
No. I mean, at least maybe they played in the same events or something like that. But yeah, it's like that one junior.
Oh, well, there you go. That's
Southern-
very similar,
Southern
actually. Yes, like,
country
I played
tour.
Brandon Nakashima. Oh, well, we just played in the same event.
Yeah, I mean, I don't remember at this stage, but definitely the connection is there. Like they, it's the same junior system. It's the same sort of bare fears. Keen is on fire today, also with the jokes. I laughed at that Kiran Palpanu one earlier today, and also, yeah, did you ever hear about that? I mean, have you ever heard about that match Bolt played against Sinner at 2019 Wimbledon?
Oh, that. Yeah, he's always talking about that.
I definitely haven't heard about that. I mean, I don't think Ben Rothenberg has ever mentioned it either.
Yeah, so Keane is on fire. Yeah. Okay, a lot of American flags I see on my screen right now, including Spitziri winning in at the first at 6-1. I have no idea about Spitziri, which is kind of
Spitziri finished the NCAA season year end twice as number one, 2 in a
Okay.
row, 2022, 23, and 23, 24.
Where
And
is he in the
just
rankings?
graduated.
Oh, okay. Where is he in the, where is he in the rankings?
I mean, he's literally playing 5 pro events a year, but he will be working now to improve that ranking. He almost qualified at the US Open last year. He made the third round and also made the semis last week in Of course, I'm struggling now. Oh, Winnipeg, yes. Did Vanch play college tennis? No, I think his experience is a lot earlier than that.
Oh, yeah. I did see that, Keen, that Benoit Paire won his first match on grass in 5 years, and I saw Blair Henley asking him about his tattoos, and I think he highlighted one from one of his dogs. Do you want to say anything about Benoit Paire? I didn't see the match, so I don't know anything really. I have to say I was getting all Hamburged up, so...
Yeah, it was also his first win since Phoenix, since
Of any
March,
sort,
actually, since
okay.
beating Medjedovic, one of my mates. And yeah, I mean, since then, the body has been telling him, no, Benoit, you cannot do it anymore, which is a big contrast to his last season, which was actually really nice. And I don't think anything has changed in that regard. But Grass is the least physical. He can just go out, blast the backhand. That's kind of what he did. Sfaida, we know, has like 0 weapons. So a great win. Yeah, I mean, absolutely. Maybe he can actually turn it into a run. I haven't. I don't know who he's playing next. So.
Why is everyone big on this Billy Harris story? Maybe it's just completely. As soon as I see, oh, what a story, Billy Harris, which I've seen about 1,000 times, I just sort of glaze over it. But maybe I'm missing something.
Well, I don't know if you read the article, but there was a big one about his story a couple of weeks ago about because he was born on one of these islands around the UK. I don't know, remember if it was Jersey or Isle of Man or whatever. But
Probably
anyway,
one
he
of these
was
tax
then
havens, yeah.
yeah, he was then like driving around events in a van. Basically didn't have any money. For years, no one cared about him like whatsoever. And then suddenly he pops up around like 2020, 21. He's actually really good in like Antalya, clay ITFs, which for a Brit was of course kind of unusual. He is one of these like UK Pro Series children as well. UK Pro Series, these Battle of the Brits exhibitions during the pandemic. He kind of grew a lot there as well. So it's like just a very unexpected breakthrough, really. He was already much closer even to making the top 100, one set away against Max Purcell in the semis in Eastbourne. But of course, he didn't do it. Why has Fonini been able to get some great wins? I thought he would be way past it this year. He's kind of like the pair, right? Well, I mean, both of them last year, they did pretty similar. Almost got back to the top 100. Fonini has a lot more talent as well, and like just
Yeah,
a better game,
draws
right?
as well a bit, maybe. I mean, I think
No,
Wimbledon was
I mean
maybe a little
at
too much.
Wimbledon, yeah, sure. I mean, he capitalized on some openings, but I mean, Fonini is always going to be a better player than Benoit Paire. I'm sorry. I mean, he has 2 shots. Benoit has 1, and that's already helpful.
All right, well, let's wisp back to Europe and northern Germany and Hamburg. And I think Holger Rune today deserves some plaudits for his performance against Fabian Marozsan. I went into the match thinking that if Holger performs like he has done over the last, I mean, arguably 6 months, then he's going to be in big trouble. And at love 40, I think he was in either his first or second service game of the match. I thought, okay, an early break here, and the doubts are already filling my mind. But then he hit a couple of winners in that particular game and produced dozens more. But of course, I'm getting slightly carried away there. And in fact, was a very accomplished win over a very dangerous opponent.
Yeah, I was planning to watch it, but it actually went over in a flash, and
Yeah.
I didn't in the end. But yeah, I remember their clash in Miami, of course. And well, that was a rough one, but it did feel like it was mostly Holger who on the day was just unplayable, not in the positive sense. Like he literally couldn't put his forehand in the court. It was it was even more wonky than the Djokovic forehand performance in the fourth round at Wimbledon against Djokovic. I mean, but yeah, sure. I was really hoping that this was going to be a good match, but then
Me
I just
too.
actually missed it because it was so short.
And I was expecting it to be really good and really competitive. And I know that scoreline looks like it was quite competitive. But to be honest with you, from the moment Rune broke in the second set, it really was good night Vienna, or perhaps I should say good night Budapest, although that isn't an expression. No, and he looked good. And also some mental fortitude, as I say, given where he was at, in terms of coming into this match. I actually thought it was a 50-50. Maybe even Marozsan slight favourite, just because I thought, weirdly enough, you wouldn't normally associate this with Fabian, but I just thought maybe Fabian might even be the slightly more solid of the two. I was watching. Yeah,
No.
I know. I knew
Bold
you'd say
stuff,
that.
bold stuff.
I knew you'd say that, bold John. I know, but it's just because, okay, he's ambitious, let's say, but Rune is just, you have no idea what Rune's going to turn up. Whereas at least Marozsan, it's like, oh, I see what he's trying to do. Whereas at times, I don't know what Holger's trying to do.
I mean, if you want to, Keen, we can give a mention to Dustin Brown, although he did lose the match. He hit like one fabulous shot, or actually probably more if I watched more of that encounter. But
Definitely give him
yeah,
a mention because I'd love to have him on the show one day. But yeah, I didn't see his doubles match, of course, and pretty much he's been, I was going to say wandering around. That's not fair because didn't he have a couple of wins at Wimbledon in the doubles?
yeah, with Sebastian Baez somehow, and I watched
Yeah,
most
an
of that.
interesting combo. Yeah, Baez, of
I
course,
also
winning.
watched him live this year in Mauthausen already. So yeah, and he makes doubles fun, which isn't always easy.
Yeah, I'd love to have him on the show one day, and I'm optimistic it'll happen somehow enough. John Tsitsipas had a great win in his brother, did he? Okay, nice. All right, anyway, back to real tennis. What
Yeah,
else is?
just
Oh, Arta Feast winning today as
doesn't care.
well.
Okay.
Yeah, so Arta Feast getting a win. Xi Jinping, I should say, by the way, winning. That was the second set, Sabot Wild was just like, I don't know. I don't want to say the word beginning with T that rhymes with ranking, but
Actually, he retired in Braunschweig last week after like 9 games, and he was like clearly in pain. So
fine. Perhaps
maybe
that was,
something is still there. I don't know, but
yeah. If perhaps that what it was, but there was something that just, yeah. I mean, once he was down 3-love, which I think might have included a double break, or it might have been 3-love with serve, but yeah, it didn't feel like he was in the mood to compete anymore. I asked Zhang if he thought, I didn't say those directly, but I asked Zhang if he thought that was the case indirectly, and yeah, he sort of hinted at it, but he's not going to probably give too much away. But still, I thought Zhang played very well. I think he hit 30 winners. I saw a tweet, I think, from Eddie on that, to that matter, and yeah, he's very capable. I think, and the roof was closed at various points today because of some rain here.
that's
Anything
the
else?
two
Bias?
semifinalists we just mentioned, right? That's the two semifinalists from last year, Zhang and Fies.
Yeah, Zhang and Feast. Oh yeah, actually, I did mention Feast actually, but I actually didn't see his match. But yeah, I mean, actually, this time last year when that semi-finalist run happened, I think things were getting quite, what's the word? People were getting quite excited about Feast, and I'm sure they still are, but it does feel like we're in a slightly different moment with him right now. But
He had 35 winners to beat Ruud in the quarters. That helped out for sure.
okay, yeah.
But
I mean, maybe
yeah,
beating Munar in 3 sets is not something we should get too giddy about.
well, I mean, Wimbledon round 4, right? If he follows it up with a big run in Hamburg, it will be like fully back on track.
Holger and Moratoglu are still together, but the only person I saw in his box today that I recognized was his mother. Keen is asking about the food. Pasta incredibly overcooked. Next question. But anyway, yeah, Munar, come on. Munar's a nice guy and stuff, but that's probably nice for Feast. Probably should be nicer than 3 sets.
I mean, if you're Fields and you are also like incredibly inconsistent, grinders like that can be tough. But yeah, obviously it's not enough to kind of declare the event a success that he beat Munar. If he loses in the
Especially if he loses
second
to
round,
Lesbo Share.
2-6
I
to
saw
6 to someone.
I saw bits, unfortunately, not much more than bits, but I saw the closing stages of Jair's win over Zizou Bergs yesterday. Yeah, Feast should have too much. We'll see.
What?
Bias,
Can I speak for 2 minutes about the Munar Martos Cordes win today? Didn't they lose, first of all? And second of all, I definitely cannot speak for 2 minutes about that.
I tell you
mean,
what, I can speak about a little bit more about Hamburg a second. There's a few things that have happened today that are like tennis related, but a little away from the court. I watched a bit of Malojan's practice. I watched a lot of Darderi practicing close up, and I mean, I'm getting a bit carried away, but boy, was he good in practice. and just I mean, I'm leaning against one of the tennis posts at one point, one of the posts on the net, and I sort of had to just move, not because it was going to be a winner, but one coming a little bit dangerously close to me, and I chatted to his physio, who's also going to be in Porto because he is the physio of somebody else. Hello, if you are tuning in, because I know we follow each other now as a result on Instagram. But yeah, he's obviously playing tomorrow. I think he's first up on center. So I'm very excited about that. There was something else as well. Oh, yeah. Oh, I saw a bit of Zverev. He's due to get underway tomorrow. People keep asking if he's going to play. Well, he's intends to. And yeah, I think he would have pulled out by now if he wasn't going to take the court.
Gave him Wednesday as well. So
Yeah. And I think it was a probable that Tuesday, but they moved it to Wednesday. Yeah.
is he the only round one match? Is it the only round one match that's delayed to Wednesday?
Could well be, because
Sure.
I just remember some message in a WhatsApp group or email group just saying that his match has been postponed to Wednesday, which I don't know what that means. Obviously, giving him as much time as possible. But yeah, obviously a healthy Zverev is a warm favourite for this event. But I don't know.
Yeah, that's the only round one match yet to be played.
Yeah. So anyway, watching a bit of practice today as well was something, especially Darderi that close up. He was playing every ball as though it was trying to hit a winner, which I don't know if that's his normal game plan, but yeah, he was certainly acting at least on the court very aggressively. There was a funny moment when his physio, who clearly doesn't play tennis, was basically on return as he was practicing serves. I guess he was on return just to be a person to look at rather than have much more, because basically he was barely getting on a racket on most of these serves from Darderi, which is quite amusing.
I saw this one Guido Andreozzi practice once where he was just like, well, he was hitting harder than Basilashvili, and you never really see him doing that in matches, but that practice was something else. And keen to your Olympics question, I mean, it's very individual, I think. It also really depends on like which country you're from. I think we in Europe, as in general, we tend to really like especially in other sports, of course, but just in general, the Olympics carry a lot of importance. So I think first two level title for a tennis player, silver for mixed doubles. Most would probably still choose first two level title, but silver for mixed doubles would find some, especially in like smaller countries. I think you would find some people who'd want to do that and sort of get that for their country. But like the UK, the United States, they don't give a damn about the Olympics.
Yeah, silver for mixed doubles. The other problem is, of course, it depends on where you're at in the tennis sphere, like the financial gains you would make from a tour level title compared to, a silver at the Olympics. But
there are actually some financial gains sometimes, right, for winning a medal at the Olympics. Like, again, that depends on the country you're from. But in Poland, if you get a medal at the Olympics, you get this like extra pension sort of that you can keep getting. So like there could actually also be financial gains for the Olympics if you go so far. Actually, I didn't check it yet, but I don't think anything has changed since yesterday. At least I didn't see any new announcements, which basically still leaves us with like no comment from his team.
yeah, so it's kind of no idea.
Yeah, I think they're doing it on purpose, right? But maybe they should just kind of get ahead of the whole thing and yeah, just say that, okay, like we have to do something because otherwise it's just going to be pure speculation, and that interview with that doctor of his or whoever he was is just going to get retweeted even more.
Oh, I don't know about this.
Yeah, I was talking about it yesterday on the ATP Weekly. Basically, there's like this guy who apparently is his doctor or something like that, and someone interviewed him, and he says that, okay, I can't say much, but he says that if it was up to him, he wouldn't be able to play, and like kind of if he plays, it can be a risk of sorts. And then there are also questions, regarding the sort of moral side of this, whether this guy should be coming out and then doing and then saying stuff like that. But that's also a bit of a consequence of the fact that they haven't said anything officially. So now the only thing we can sort of use, and the only thing you can throw around is a random interview with a doctor. But yeah, I mean, anyway, we don't have anything official, so I think it very likely will be just like with many other players, trying to get fit before an event. Like it's going to be a last minute decision, and we might not know for a while. Jesus, I will not be playing at the 2032 Olympic Games. I can already tell you that, but I would love to. But yeah, I don't think I will qualify. And also, will John have over or under 14.5 total alcoholic beverages in Porto? A beer is already one alcoholic beverage.
Yeah. I think basically any sort of like a beer, a wine, or a
You
shot,
have
I guess.
2 night shifts, right? So
Maybe
that
3. I'm
limits
just
your
going to check.
ability.
I'm just going to check. Yeah, but I still think it's over.
You still think it's
not-
over, okay?
Yeah,
Like my
yeah.
initial instinct was obviously over because in Lisbon you definitely were like so much above that. But then I started thinking about the night shifts and sort of
Still think to be over. Still, I've
okay.
just checked my schedule. I still think it'll be over. Still,
Okay.
no, it will be over. Yeah. Well, we'll see. We'll get a tally chart, Keen, and we'll keep you updated
We'll
on
have
Twitter.
to know. We'll have to know, yeah.
Yeah, we will. We will.
Over under games
14.5.
in the John Silk Damon Kust
Part 2 on a hardcore. What not disappoints me, but the thing is, I think I'd rather play again on clay than hard. But we'll see how it pans out.
Probably, but I don't actually know. Yeah, it will be interesting to check. I mean, it might be that we get there and we can't find the hard court, and we will have to move to clay.
Oh yeah, right. Yeah, I'll be okay with that. Just got the matches up on the screen for tomorrow. I think Darderi should have. Didn't Shevchenko lose? Oh no. I'm thinking of something else. Darderi got a walkover in the previous round, right? Didn't he?
Yeah, I don't
Darderi-
remember his round 1 actually. So
I think he
but
got
would
a
he get a
walkover.
walkover? No, I mean there would be a lucky loser. He had to play someone.
Sonego, he was supposed. Oh, that's right. Yeah, he played Hart. Yeah. Sorry. Yeah.
Nick Hart today. Yeah, right. You're right. Yeah.
Yeah.
That probably wasn't a match. I missed it completely, to be honest, but I'm
I
assuming
saw a
that
bit of
was not a
Hart
match.
qualify, but
Oh, actually,
not
he
to-
won a set.
Yeah, I know. I just saw that. Yeah.
Yeah, that was that scoreline. Someone sent it to me because it was 6-1 to 6 love, so it was pretty great.
Anyway, he's up against one of your other mates, Shevchenko, tomorrow. So I think he should win that, but then you're in the quarterfinals. Martinez, I saw him playing a bit of doubles today, alongside Cerundolo, I think. I always find him quite a moody fella, but I don't know. He should probably make the quarters, bearing in mind, he was obviously in Estoril in the final. As long as we don't get Jose Morgado anywhere near him, I'm sure he'll be fine. Zverev de Jong, if Zverev is anything close to 100%, he should be winning that. Cerundolo probably a warm favourite against Martada. And Baez likewise against Lajovic. It seems quite an easy those picks tomorrow. Lajovic, obviously, the latter stages of his career.
Yeah, it's Baez that good though. I think it could be a bit tricky. Cerundolo is, all about Cerundolo, right? But he can hit himself off the court. He had some moments when he was just like absolutely unwatchable against Comesaña, but then he picked it up in the most important moments. He had this like one streak of like winning 14 out of 15 points, I think, to take the first set, and that was actually pretty fabulous. And yeah, I'm not sure about the Darderi confidence. Like Shevchenko is just so random as well, but it's not like he can't beat players like this.
He'll beat Shevchenko. You'll see. Just a couple of things here. I'll come to Keynes in a second because I think it's a bit more nuanced. But Ashley, when does the draw come out for the Olympics?
25th.
Okay, so we've got a while. Yeah.
Thursday at 11 a.m. I think.
11 a.m. Central European time.
Same time, yeah, as Paris.
Time, yeah.
Local time.
Keen here, I want to understand this. There should be a rule where you cannot play someone twice in the same tournament as a lucky. But how are you going to do that? So
Yeah, then if one spot is open, then what? It just jumps over you, like the next player gets in
So
because you can't play. Like,
you'd be an
the top
unlucky
tier.
loser then. You'd be a lucky loser at the beginning, and then it'd be like, well, we've got to eliminate
Yeah.
you now because that guy you lost to in qualifying is supposed to be your next opponent, because that's not
It
fair.
would be incredibly unfair. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I guess the only option to avoid it is to like scratch the lucky losers altogether. But then we actually lack matches, and then we actually have less. So yeah, I
And
don't
it does
think it's
feel, is it okay to say that it's kind of two different, slightly parts of the same tournament? It's almost like a group stage, like in a soccer scenario, or even the ATP Tour Finals. It's just you can lose a match in the group stage, but you can play that opponent in the final and beat them.
the ATP would agree with you for sure, given that they don't count qualifying into head-to-heads and two-level matches,
But
which in some cases
I'm fine
just
with
looks so
saying that
weird.
it's the same event. I'm fine with including it as being a very serious competitive as possibly you can get, and therefore recognizing it.
Hmm.
But as part of the format, you can lose in the round robin. You can lose a match and go on win the tournament. Technically, I think you could even lose two, but
Yep.
that being extremely lucky. But you could do so.
Agnieszka Radwańska, 2015 WTA Finals.
Did she lose two in the round robin stage?
Yep, and then
Yeah.
won the event.
Luck of the Poles. So yeah, I think that rounds things up. Unless there's anything else, John, who is the player you overrate the most that have not lived up to it? Ooh, Barbora Krejcikova. Could I say that one?
I mean, that have not lived up to it.
I know. But 2 weeks ago, that would be the obvious answer, right?
Maybe.
And yet, of course, like always, I remember backing Paul Scholes to score because he went through a bound run for England, like 25 matches. And as soon as you like give up on, and when I say backing, I mean literally going to the bookmakers and putting a very small amount, like £1 or £2 on or something, for him to score first, and he never scored. And then, of course, you stop doing that, and then they go and score. So he did against, I think it was against Croatia in the Euro 2004. And of course, I jumped off the Barbora Krejcikova horse quite a while ago, but she came up trumps recently, so maybe I was underestimating her at Wimbledon. So that's one that springs to mind for a while. Let me try and think of one that really works. Have you got one for yourself, Damien?
Very easy answer for me is Golubic, because I used to think that she was gonna be like, an absolute star, but that was just like based on, well, first of all, one-handed backhand bias, and second of all, her Fed Cup performances, which never really kind of turned into the same on tour. Of course, she made the quarterfinals at Wimbledon. I'm actually like for males, I'm kind of struggling because I feel
Yeah, I've
like a
got
lot
one
of
on the
the players
females.
I've
Another
been
one, yeah.
hyping up, they like still have a lot of years, right?
Yeah, I've
So
got one on the women's side, but she's still got a lot of years, which is Clara
yeah.
Townsend.
Oh yeah, sure. I mean, she still has so much time, but no.
Anyone towards the latter end of their career? No, not off the top of my head. Anyone retired who I thought would have done more? No, not off the top of my head. Those are the names that first spring to mind for me. Maybe Bencic. Maybe backing her a few times and just not quite going that far. And now I think she's had a baby. Not sure when she's coming back.
Draper, but yeah, again, I mean, he
Top
can still
7
get
by now?
there.
Yeah, but again, I mean,
He can still get there.
that's too young. That's too young to sort of. That's a wonderful one that you say, oh, I never thought they would live up to it, but I still back them. And then a year from now, they are top 10. But you didn't think he'd be top 7 already. I don't think. I think the question with Draper is, will he make? And by the way, top 7. Where does that number come from, Keem? 7. Where did you get 7 from? Nobody ever says top 7. I mean, no. Oh, top 13. This is like a Vance tweet almost. It's like, oh, both these players were top 13 in 2018, and now they're both ranked 81 on the two sides of the WTA and ATP rankings.
Actually,
And yet,
Musetti can also be my player that I overrated the most, and they have not lived up to it.
Yeah, and
Because that's kinda something I learned, with him, and sort of that's something I learned about tennis, that the fact that he has all that flair and all the shots in the book really and such a wide repertoire really is not enough to compensate for the fact that he doesn't have any easy ways to win points. And like that's kind of been the whole story of his career the last 3-4 years. And back these 4 years ago, like I thought he was gonna be, just better than Sinner, almost as good as Alcaraz. But yeah, obviously that's not happening. And even though he has a lot of years ahead of him, I think I can already say with full honesty that he will not live up to what I had in mind with him.
yeah, I was just checking his age, 22. Okay, well, I think that brings this semi-spontaneous, in fact, more than semi, very spontaneous show to a close. Keeping you up to date with all things ATP at the very least. And yeah, I'm sure we'll be catching up again pretty soon. I know we've got a wheelchair episode on Thursday. We'll probably, in fact, we will do a doubles. I saw this is the second time I've seen Brooksby in the chat, by the way.
Yeah, he was mentioned earlier as well. I mean, no one knows when he's going to come back. He's been eligible since Indian Wells, and no one knows when he's going to be around.
When's
I
this?
think
When's he allowed to come back?
he's been eligible to come back since Indian Wells, since the Indian
Oh,
Wells week.
I see. Eligible. Okay, eligible to come back.
Yeah.
Since well, why isn't he back?
I don't know. Maybe he was not practicing during his time away. I don't know. But I think Brooksby is sure. But also, if we were like 15 years younger, if I was like 15 years younger, and if you were interested in, like, let's say the more deep echelons of men's tennis at the time, then Donald Young would have been an answer for a lot of people. Bernie Tomic as well, maybe, but that's later. But Donald Young, I think he used to be like, everyone used to think he was going to be like number 2, number 1, or something like that. And now when you sort of stop and think about it, you're like, what? How? But I think if I was living in that era, maybe I would have been sort of a victim of the hype as well.
The Brooksby thing, though, from Sean, overrating maybe, but did you really like go crazy on him? I'd be surprised if anyone went crazy on Brooksby, thinking that he'd be reaching the top end of the sport. You might be going, this guy could have a good career, and that can be wrong in a way, and it might still be right. But I'm not sure if there's something about him technically that makes you think that he's got all the necessary tools to
Shapovalov kind of falls into that.
Chapo, yeah,
overrating.
Felix.
Yeah. I mean, the guy played the best match of his career when he was like 18 or something like that. And then you thought, oh, I mean, yeah, he's going to be like number 1, something like that.
But
And
Keen
yeah,
also regarding Rune, it's not quite the
he
same
might
as the
be.
Drake.
He might be one of my misses as well. So.
Maybe, but we need 5 more years before, or maybe a bit less.
Yeah,
you
3,
might,
4, 2,
yeah,
maybe even.
yeah,
Like
2
if
to 4.
he's not contending for slams in 2-3 years, he probably never will.
Yeah, right. Well, that's that. And thanks for joining us today. And make sure you hit like and subscribe and all that other jazz. And no more questions about. Okay. Hi, Enigma. How about the guy who beat Nadal in Wimbledon?
You can have a lot of answers there. Maybe you're talking about Kyrgios. I don't know. Rosol, Darcis, Dustin Brown.
It's probably Kyrgios now. That has to be Kyrgios.
Gilles Miller. But I think it's probably Kyrgios. Yeah, that's sure. At the time, we thought he was going to be so much better. I think we did get one season when he was like peak Nick Kyrgios, and that was 2022. Yeah. So.
Oh, Justin Brown maybe.
Actually. I mean, Brown was, by the time he beat Nadal at Wimbledon, he was kind of like, already a bit of a journeyman, right?
Yeah. And that journeyman Enigma, Dustin Brown, has played his last match in Hamburg, but I guess not his last match ever.
Yeah, he's gonna finish at the end of the season. I'm not sure if there's an actual event he has already chosen or not, but yeah, definitely this season is his last. Yeah, I think Brown obviously had a very good time playing Nadal twice in Halle and then at Wimbledon.
He's got a 2-0 record, hasn't he?
2-0 record against Rafa, but I mean, with that sort of play style, you always kind of just run the risk of, inconsistency. And yeah, I don't think he was ever like a prodigy.
Did they come in the same year as well?
No, 2014 was the Halle one.
Okay.
Dustin had a good run in Halle, I think, as well in 2015, but that was the Rafa one was 1 year earlier.
Okay, cool. Well, we miss Kyrios on tour, says Enigma. Thank you very much for joining us, even at this late stage. And Enigma, please hit subscribe, and you're going to get a reminder about that right now. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you hit that like button. Don't forget to subscribe and click that notification bell so you don't miss out on all things tennis.